Today, we have our partners from Quest Software coming on board. They're going to be here momentarily, and they're going to be talking about enterprise data management from a software point of view. We partnered with Quest Software because they bring a level of capability to the table. I think that is overshadowed by some of the other offerings out there in the industry, and yet Quest does an incredible job with what they do. They hit way above the belt in the sense of what they deliver. So we're just going to bring them on. We have Anne and Eddie. Eddie, how are you?
Good.
Well, what I'll do is I will let you guys kick this off. It's great to see both of you.
My name's Anne Trent. I'm the regional manager with Quest Software. Also here on the call with me is Eddie, and he's my Quest engineer here. And how we came together with Connex is we looked at a problem, right? Which is how do we solve this big backup problem that everybody seems to have? Data growth cost and storage is increasing. And just to let you know, like some studies that we've seen, it's slated to grow 3 times more than what was in 2019. And just to give you a size estimate, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the American football version here, but that's over like 800 football fields of the size of what that is potential growth. So we're talking about in the zettabytes. And then data retention and compliance. So let's take police stations, for example. They have video camera footage that they have to keep on, keep saved up, or even data that they have to keep saved up for compliance, like HIPAA, or for data records, like here in the States, real estate, you have to keep records for 7 years. So this is something that you guys are also dealing with as far as the compliance portion. And then cybersecurity protection, as you know, it's cybersecurity month actually. So this is a great time to bring this up, is you have to, those regulations, and there's cybersecurity insurance that you guys have to deal with. So that's not easy to add on top of your list. And then as well as disaster recovery. So places like Texas, or recently for you guys, the wildfires, you have to plan for those kind of disasters, unfortunately, with the way the weather is going right now and all sorts of stuff of infrastructure maybe not being up to date. So to put this all together, how does this, you have all these things that are on top of your list, right? How can Quest Software essentially put all these challenges and all these regulations and all these problems for you and solve it in an easy solution? So this is where I'm the manager, right? And then Eddie is our sales engineer. So I'm going to hand it over to him to get into the nitty gritty of how we can help as far as putting this all together for you.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. So if you want to go ahead and advance the slide on what you have, we'll talk a little bit about, the nature of the solution, the agility of the solution, and how all the various components of a backup system basically comes together. And a lot of this kind of ties into our previous presenter from the 45 Dry side of folks. Again, a fantastic bunch with an amazing platform on which we can build on and build upon and answer a lot of these sort of storage needs from a backup standpoint. The backup solution itself has many component pieces that can be leveraged for on-prem assets, cloud assets. It ties itself into cloud storage by way of S3. There is protections against ransomware attacks by way of native immutability functionality. These are all very much a part of the solution portfolio, and all the typical things that one would expect in terms of replication, deduplication, encryption. These are all component pieces, right? But on top of that is to address things like, recovery time objective. Because more and more, as we're talking about business critical systems, downtime after a system crash or a cyber attack cannot be measured in days, of course, and even in terms of hours, right? We need to get these systems back up and running right away. And so there are, again, technologies within our solution stack that addresses that very directly. So the solution, our portfolio comprises of a number of backup solutions. NetVault Plus is, really the sort of premier, the enterprise level. As you can see, there's a whole host of functionality that's within this product line. I won't go through each of these. We'll go ahead and share these out after. But I think the key here is the agility and the topology. It handles on-prem assets. It handles cloud assets. The solution is all software-based and can be deployed both on physical machines or virtual machines on-prem. It can be deployed within cloud infrastructure. By nature, there is a storage component in the form of CoreStore. This, of course, is something that we are relying upon hardware platforms, very advanced hardware platforms like 45 drives for, to gain additional advantages beyond its native software advantages. And again, tying into cloud in both ways, right? Both from an asset standpoint, both from a copy standpoint, and as you'll see further, from a DR standpoint, right? We want to be able to leverage cloud from a disaster recovery standpoint so that when it comes to a total failure, local on-prem systems being compromised, we want to give our end users the capability of taking their data they've stored in our system and fully recover that into cloud infrastructure while they're rebuilding on-prem, as an example, or even if it's cloud infrastructure to cloud infrastructure. And as you can see from this diagram that's going through, the system again is optimizing the backup that it's doing, and then again having the ability to tie into cloud. This list that you're seeing popping up on here just shows the breadth and depth of the coverage of the product. Many OS platforms, number of different infrastructure platforms, lots of databases, applications, and it's ever growing. So for those who have a deeper interest in the significant bits and pieces, there's a lot here to cover, so I won't go and board you guys with all that today. But for those who are interested, definitely reach out to one of us and we'll be happy to kind of show you around the lay of the land and really kind of get you to understand how the nuts and bolts fit together and just the general ease of the solution. Once deployed, it basically hums along on its own and it sends you reports, lets you know if things need to be addressed. Otherwise, it just carries on in the background as your insurance policy.
So does anybody have any questions or want us to go over anything in particular that we showed today?
Let's see what we have here. We had a couple while I was restarting because of my audio. My sincere apologies. What are some of the client industries that you're finding that are interested in the NetVault Plus platform that Quest is offering today?
Honestly, we have anywhere from small to partnerships with MSPs to police stations to casinos, all over the map. We like to, our whole shtick is back up anything to anywhere. And obviously we have different solutions to make it creative to fit your environment because we don't see everything as pig and hole situation. So we try not to cookie cutter everything, but for the MSPs out there, we can do that. But really this solution is for everybody.
Absolutely. It's just from the initial work that we've done on a couple of the clients that we share. The work has been outstanding, and the professional services actually that come with deploying the platform has been outstanding as well. It's been the customers are telling me that it's been an incredible experience. What are some of the other common areas that when customers are reaching out to Quest, say, as an initial touch point, what are some of the common questions you might be hearing when they're doing inquiries about NetVault Plus?
Yeah, so some of the questions, and I'm going to let Eddie also answer this, but some of the questions is, hey, is this a good fit? Most of the questions that come up first on our side is the problems such as like, hey, can you help? What do I do about data? If it's, if there's a ransomware attack, that's most of the plans. Around ransomware right now is a huge topic. it's so funny because like when I was in an MSP event last year, and even in some other events in Canada, immutability wasn't this hot topic that it is
Right.
today. Just in 1 year, right? And it's just that's all you hear people talk about right now. But also, like, okay, so what sets us apart from immutability? And that's really what I want to have Eddie speak to because he's the best. Speak to about okay, we provide immutability, but what on top of that really sets us apart from those other vendors or the other backup solutions out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, part of it is the conversation really starts off with back to basics, right? While we're in this ever evolving IT landscape, lots of cool new technologies coming along, containerization. The majority of the folks still just they have SQL machines, they have Oracle databases, they file servers, they have their basics. So number one is, can we cover those? And the answer always is yes. Our platform support is immensely broad. Application integration is again very, very deep. And then it comes down to modern day performances, right? How tight are my RPOs? If I get hacked, if I get compromised, or if I just lost an Excel spreadsheet, how far back do I have to look? RPO is a big, big thing. I think having an ability to do things like hourly incremental forevers on vSphere environments, 365, these are hugely advantageous to our end users. And then again, going back to recovery time, I think everybody who, I've been in this backup business for a long time, and I remember back in the tape days, and I shouldn't say back in the tape days because we've got a lot of folks going back to that right now to achieve immutability by way of air gapping, is that they understand, they understand even if they don't have to load a tape, that just seeking to position for those who are coming from that world, it takes a while. And so the mentality, I think, gosh, I would say even 10 years ago would be, well, if we're going to get restores going, it'll take however many hours it takes, right? And now with things like instant restore for vSphere, that has changed from not hours, not even to minutes, but into seconds.
Right.
And so this is the sort of thing that we want to bring to the marketplace is, one is we want you to sleep sound at night so that you just don't have to worry about the backup. That's another question that comes up, right? Like, how much babysitting do I need to do on the system? And the answer is really none. Just look for the reports that come in and deal with it only if you have to. And then when it comes to, again, an insurance policy, the insurance is that you want to go back into it. You don't want to have jobs that are not been running, backups that are RPOs that are not there. And then if I got to recover, how quickly can I do it? Do I have to tell the executives, hey, wait a few hours and we'll get your system back? Or, hey, by the way, you put in the request 2 minutes ago, it's ready to go, right? And that's the direction we want to go with all this.
Absolutely. One of the things that has always, since I was first introduced to Quest and NetVault Plus, I think one of the things that's great about it is the simplicity of it. I always thought that that restore with little effort, at all, is such a huge piece, as opposed to the things what we dealt with, as you mentioned, Eddie, right? Tapes back in the day. My gosh, I remember tapes when I worked in the financial institutions or industry. The simplicity that NetVault Plus brings to the table, as well as its capabilities, I think is outstanding, and it's something that as we've been introducing them to customers, they see that value, and then the integration with other virtualization platforms just extends that further and further. I think too, it's interesting. There are people that are up to speed, as you mentioned, Eddie, about immutability. How much awareness there is out there for that. I think from what we've seen here at Connext, it's about a 50-50. Some people are very in tune with it and some are not. And it's definitely some of that next curve that we're introducing our customers to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting as we kind of delve into the world of how do we mitigate and counter the bad actors out there, right?
Right.
Trying to rob us of our livelihood and our data is looking at it as backup is an insurance policy, and the idea behind immutability is obviously the insurance for the insurance policy. And many folks out there do it in various different ways, fantastic ways, really. And I think we're very proud of the technology we've developed here in house, and
Mhm.
that it is hardened. It is hardened in such a way that we ourselves have attempted to. I keep telling customers this funny anecdotal story that we have tried to hack into our systems with
Right.
everyone on hand trying to do it, seeing if they can find some clever way, and we have not. So either we're just not clever enough, or our system truly is so hardened that even we can't get at it, short of a hammer and a chisel, basically, right? So
And that's that reassurance, I think, that customers love to hear, right? You're constantly testing those boundaries. You're constantly trying to find those weak points and mitigate them and move on. Maybe just between us, is there any insights of what new features are coming down the pipe for NetVault? We'll just keep it between the three of us here. There's,
Okay.
anything, any secrets we can get ready for?
there's some platform integrations on the horizon,
Mm-hmm.
as I kind of alluded to, with various things like containerization, with things like one of the things a lot of folks really want to see in a backup product, although they kind of understand the sort of workflow limitations, is the ability to scan the what has been stored as
Mm-hmm.
truly clean data, right? And so we have up to this point not done that. Part of it is just because we realize that a lot of our competitors out there who are doing it are using essentially sort of, for lack of a better term, duct tape on,
Right.
add-ons. And we really don't want to have to do that. And we don't want to have this very kind of hodgepodgey sort of solution. So we wanted to make sure we were building it in-house. And these tools that truly complement each other. And, we're taking a slow and careful approach to it, right? We want everything to be an enhancement and not taking any sort of half steps back. And so, again, that's kind of something that's coming on the horizon, to complete the whole security, narrative. So
That's great to hear. We've had those conversations before where you hear about other organizations trying to package something, and it really is a bit of a kludge, for lack of better words, of a bunch of items trying to bolt together, and those processes between them are not mature, and some of the, and then that's where that piece breaks, and then when I'm trying to do that root cause analysis and triaging, where is it, this side or is it this side, depending on where the fault is. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about how NetVault with NetVault brought it out. It really is that congruent thing. And as we're going to be dovetailing in here into momentarily, the work that Quest and 45 Drives did on Data Armor, which we're very, very excited to share. And this is actually our first announcement of it publicly, so we're quite excited about that. And as we're going to be sharing with everybody, we have some deployments already of Data Armor, and the success is outstanding.
Yeah, we were definitely, and again, thank you, David, right, for bringing all of us together. But I think, getting hooked up with fantastic guys on the 45 Drive side, and just seeing everything that they bring to the table, it really takes, I believe it really takes the core store product to another level for us. So that
Absolutely.
was definitely a fantastic partnership.
Absolutely. Guys, and Eddie, I cannot thank you enough for your time today. I'm so glad you were able to make it. I'm sure everybody was quite entailed with the details you brought.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Everybody.